friends, welcome back to our channel. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to share this video because we finally finished our understairs makeover project. You're going to see all we were able to complete over the past 3 months, but first let's get into the last few projects Bernard tackled to wrap up this makeover, starting with building the drawer fronts and cabinet doors. For the drawer fronts, I wanted a clean and simple design with no hardware. So Bernard used a 2.5-inch chamfer bit to route a pole directly into each drawer front. He then lightly sanded each one, and the finished product is not only minimal but very functional. Next, Bernard installed all 3 of the drawer fronts to make sure they fit and align as expected. Now let's move on to building the cabinet doors. I went with the shaker style design, and for this Bernard used a 1/4-inch pre-finished plywood for the cabinet door center and 2.5-inch pine for the cabinet door trim. There are many different ways to build shaker-style cabinet doors, but the method Bernard used involved this tongue and groove router bit set, where the top and bottom trim pieces will have both the tongue and groove routed into them, while both side pieces will only have the groove. You can find a link to this router bit set in the description box below. When assembling the cabinet door, Bernard applied some wood glue into the groove of each trim piece. And honestly, when he was done with the first cabinet door, I had to go compare it to our shaker style kitchen cabinet doors, and Bernard's craftsmanship was just as good, if not better. Keeping with a cohesive exterior, we skipped the hardware on the cabinet doors as well, and instead Bernard once again used his chamfer bit to route a pole directly into the cabinet doors. You can find a link to this particular router bit in the description box below. At this point, Bernard has created quite the router bit collection, and it's pretty incredible some of the details he can accomplish with them. When all 6 cabinet doors were built, it was time to prep them for installation, which meant adding the hinges. Bernard used a metal hinge jig that not only created the holes for the hinges, but also the pilot holes for the hinge screws. This is Bernard's favorite hinge jig, and you can find a product link in the description box below. Now these are inset cabinet doors, meaning when closed, they fit within the cabinet face frames instead of on top of them. So naturally we needed inset hinges that are also soft closing. These cabinet doors still needed to be painted, but it's Bernard's process to get them all installed first to iron out any kinks. If you've ever painted cabinet doors, then you know it can be quite a time-consuming project. It took us a while, but we found an efficient process that involved using some hooks, hangers, and coat racks. We were strategic in where we added the hooks on the cabinet doors and drawer fronts, making sure the holes won't be visible once installed. Bernard spray painted 1 coat of acrylic primer on both sides of the cabinet doors and drawer fronts. Then we lightly sanded each surface before spray painting 2 coats of satin finish paint in the color Cameo White by Behr. Since Bernard had already pre-installed the cabinet doors and drawer fronts, they were a lot easier to reinstall after painting, with only minor adjustments needed. The last build in this understairs makeover project was a shoe rack for guests. Bernard used pine for this easy build and constructed it using mainly pocket holes and pocket hole screws. He did use a dowel jig and dowels to attach the very top shelf of the shoe rack. decided to stain the shoe rack with the same English chestnut that I used to stain the luggage and cleaning supplies cabinets. Now, the frustrating problem with using different wood in your projects is a possibility that the stain color will not necessarily look the same. And that's exactly what happened in my case. Because the shoe rack was going to sit on top of our new Chevron LVP flooring, I wanted a darker stain color to contrast the golden brown color of the flooring. The English chestnut stain wasn't giving what I wanted it to give, but it is still a pretty color on the pine wood. I'm going to live with it for a while, and if I really don't like it, we can always fix it at a later time. I was just too eager to have this project completed to create any more delays. We were then left with the last 5% of this makeover project, which were adding coat hooks and caulking the tiled backsplash. I'm a big fan of individual coat hooks because you can customize the spacing to suit your home needs. As I mentioned in an earlier video, this was Bernard's second time installing tile and also his second time using this sanded ceramic tile caulk. It gave the look of grout but without all the mess. The cleanup was easy and the color was a perfect match to the black tile. Now let's take one last look at what our understairs space looked like 3 months ago so you can really appreciate the work that went into this transformation. There is so much to love and admire in this space, from the flooring to the custom cabinets to the countertop and backsplash to the shelving and coat hooks and even the light fixtures. I put a lot of thought and effort into designing this space and I hope it shows. I also linked as many products as I could in the description box below. None of this makeover would have been possible without Bernard's hard work day in and day out to make sure I was happy with the quality and craftsmanship of everything he was doing. He really knocked this one out of the park and I'm so proud of him. Now, my favorite part of this project is the custom cabinets because they look so professional and they're a statement on their own, not to mention the hard work that went into building them. I'd love to know what's your favorite part in this makeover. Thank you guys again for sticking with us throughout this project. It definitely took longer than expected, but I do hope it was worth the wait. I still have to get it all packed and organized, but I'll save that for another video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.